What is up, everyone? What is up? My sound pad was not working right. But sorry I'm late. I broke my network. Yeah, I was in the middle of
Bluetooth mode.
doing some overhauls and upgrades, things that I needed to do for the longest time. And I broke my network in the middle of it. So I've literally been spending the past like 3 or 4 hours trying to figure it out, and was on cell data for a while. I literally used my backup internet as a hotspot so I could do things I needed to do while I figured it out, and then plug the backup internet back in once I got the main internet working. Basically, oh, you got your new credit card? Nice, I know you've been waiting for that for a minute. Don't go throwing yourself into debt. But basically, what I was doing was I overhauled the blacklists that I had in my system. There was a few that were outdated, added a few new ones, so there's some nice stuff in there. Overhauled the intrusion detection and prevention system, so it's no longer doing just detections. It's now doing preventions, and it's doing it inline. So a lot of IDS IPS systems, what they will do is they will look at the traffic that comes through. Oh, you got your new debit card. I got a new Capital One credit card coming in December that I plan to actually never... Yeah, don't use it. Well, let me put it this way. Do use it, but don't, like, rely on it. What I would recommend doing, only use your credit card for things you were already going to buy, because then you can get the points and at least build your credit and then pay it off in full. Don't listen to the advice people say, like, oh, you know, like, buy something, leave a little balance, all that. No, you just got to show utilization and keep your utilization of your total credit less than 30%. But yeah, the biggest mistake people make, unfortunately, and they don't like to hear it in the USA, is you do need credit cards. I've had a few exes, well, one in particular, that she got a credit card just for what she needed, you know, an emergency, and then she canceled the card, and I remember yelling at her, like, why the hell did you do that? And she's like, what? I don't like being in debt. And I'm like, you're trying to buy a house. The only way to get credit in order to look good to buy a house is you have a credit card. Never close a credit card. Never close a credit card. Always use your credit card. Like, I have literally several credit cards. I have, like, probably a dozen. That literally all I do on, like, 10 or 11 of them, because, well, 10 of them, because one's Micro Center, one's my actual credit union card that I actually use regularly. Well, the other one's Costco, and I get good rewards for gas on that. And then I do use the Prime card because, you know, get the... So, like, out of the 4 I actually use, but I pay them off. The rest of them, I literally go buy a stick of gum once a year. Or I go buy, like, whatever fast food or whatever I was planning to go get anyway. Just use that, pay it off. Just so that there's activity and they don't close the card. That's how you should do it. Your credit score is 677 currently. You should be impressed. Yeah, if you don't have a house, that's actually really good. I'm not joking. You should have at least, what is it, a 640, I say, if you want to go get a house? I don't want to see my credit score. I just bought a new car. It won't be the worst thing. My credit score is like 750s. I haven't checked it in a while. Okay, I have no reason to. But here's the stupid thing about when you own property. You fight for like years to just get to like the low 600s, mid 600s, just so that you can do it. And then all you have to do is pay your bills, and you just see your credit score like go on easy mode. It is the dumbest thing ever. Like, boomers ruin this crap for the rest of us. Anyway, back to how I broke the network. So I was doing some security overhauls and some performance upgrades. Sorry, I was eating ribs while I was doing it. And it went down the wrong pipe. So... Anyway. What's up, Govy Cat? And I got the hiccups too. What the hell? I crashed my network, I choke on ribs, and then I now got the hiccups. God is just going like, I gotta play a prank on this motherfucker. Rewatching Willy's Wonderland and thinking, if I didn't have a messed up knee, a high chance I might be able to take out. I feel like I'm in my college days coughing this much. My eyes are getting red. But I got none of the enjoyment! Excuse me. Hiccups. Goddamn. So... trying to get that thing off the back of my throat. That's what she said, I know. Anyway, is ribs a hybrid? I wish. Oh. Anyway, sorry. So I broke my network trying to clean out a bunch of block lists and improving the intrusion detection and prevention system. And I broke the network so bad that I had to go to the firewall physically with a keyboard and a monitor and start, rolling things back. Did the penguin give you a bad drug or something? Which one? This one? Hold on. Did you forget I have that one? Forgot I had that emoji. Anyway, what I was saying was, so I was working on getting the block list removed. I just haven't maintained my network in, about a couple years as well as I should have. The block lists, some of them were getting old and broken. They just didn't exist anymore. The IDS, IPS, I needed to do some better tuning on it. And with the dashboard I made, it was all the more reason I needed to get into it. Well, the issue was I was overhauling it, blocked my own access to hitting the internet. Had to figure out why. It was a mix of the block lists I did were a little bit overzealous, and the intrusion detection and intrusion prevention system was not working as well as I wanted. Well, it was working a little too well, shall we say. So basically, let me see if I can show this to you. Yeah, perfect. You mentioned using YubiKey. Would you recommend it using all password authentication or one-to-one? I use a YubiKey for all of my accounts as my multi-factor authentication. It's my my MFA for everything, the TOTP, the WebAuthn, couldn't remember, WebAuthn and FIDO. I have multiple YubiKeys. You should always have at least two, because what if one gets broken or lost? Because if you do, then you're kind of SOL. Anyway, so this is the intrusion detection and intrusion prevention system. I've been tuning it quite a bit, because it was throwing alerts like a mother that, were not relevant. So I actually originally had the intrusion detection and prevention system only on the WAN side, facing the internet. Well, if you notice, hold up, I gotta move for the Twitch people. Okay, if you notice on this one over here, we have a lot more interfaces now. Now, the reason for that is simple. I now put an Suricata enabled on every, well, not every, but most of my LAN networks for the VLAN. They're not doing prevention, they're doing alerting, so I can correlate information. So, yeah, I have a setup now for east-west detection, so if anyone were to happen to be in the network, I could actually see if they're doing lateral movements across VLAN. And this is what you do in an enterprise side. So, Chief, how's your code dealer? They're doing okay. But yeah, that was part of why I broke the network, was this thing over here. Now, the surprising thing about all this Suricata stuff, sure, when you fire it up, it maxes out my CPU for like 5 to 10 minutes. But after that, I'm only using like 15% of the CPU. And it looks like memory-wise, about 60% of 16 gigabytes of memory. And I'm not running anything that high-end on the system. It's just an Intel Atom Server Edition, 8-core, about 2 gigahertz. So, did you say you got a Snort subscription from your code dealer? Yeah, I got a Snort subscription. But yeah, I did get a Snort subscription. Snort, for those of you not aware, is Intrusion Detection and Prevention System. I use their definitions in Suricata. The reason why, they do have a community version. But the community version is always 30 days behind what definitions they're finding. So I now can be up to date, and it's only $30 per year. So it was like, what the hell, why not? $30 per year, I can swallow that money. Again, that's what she said. Snort is a single core process, it's horrendous. Yeah, that's why I use Suricata. Suricata is able to do Snort rules, but multi-threaded. Which is why I'm not limited per link like Snort is. Suricata spreads it across all 8 cores that I have on my Intel Atom Server Edition. So it's actually been working really well. I haven't noticed any bottlenecks, and the other reason why I was a little late to stream was I was setting it up to move from legacy mode to inline mode. So inline, rather than legacy, which will inspect the packet after it comes to see, hey, do we need to block this after the fact? It will actually block it while it's receiving it. So it'll actually, if you have an Intel network interface card, Intel's the best when it comes to network interface cards. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But you're able to actually analyze the traffic as it comes through and alert or block as it comes in. So I have it blocking as it comes in. And I can actually show that. Okay, cool. Yeah. What's with your dealer making touch files? Okay, so this is the map correlating all the attacks and stuff, or basically it's just people scanning things. Everyone's really surprised when I'm like, no, if you actually were to see all the things hitting your firewall, you would actually be surprised that everyone's network is getting hammered every single day, every hour of the day, mostly from automated attacks. That's how people got their routers turned into botnets and everything, because they don't update their firmware and everything. That's why I always say, update your router firmware, and if it stops getting supported, you should move on. But, yeah. So, that's that. And that's having the attacks correlated. So as you can see, there's, it's basically just low, poor reputation IP blocks. That's all there is to it. And that dashboard actually came in very handy for what I was doing. The dashboard makes it a lot easier to go analyze a lot of the traffic and stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm very happy that I made this dashboard. I still got more stuff to do. And I will be open sourcing all of this. In fact, if you go to my GitHub, you'll see, I think it's called pfSense Dashboard. Right now, there's a branch called Overhaul. I'll bring it up for you. None of this is ready for production yet. It's just where I'm stashing things right now, and I'll clean it up later. Respawn no longer have access to my funds. Do you mean your mom? Oh, it's pfSense Grafana is what I called it. I'm gonna have this all all renamed. But there was a project that originally I took a dashboard from someone else that they haven't updated it in like several years. So there were a few issues with it, minor fixes, and then I got it working. Well, under the branches Overhaul. Sorry, I still got this thing stuck in my throat. There's a bunch of stuff in there because I'm setting it all up. And it's still got more improvements to go. Now that I got the WAN side of the IDS IPS, I'm gonna get the LAN side of it set up. It's like a glob of spices from what I ate. I had ribs before I was on stream. Sorry. It's almost out. That's what she said. But anyway, with this folder over here, you can see there's a bunch of different stuff in here. I'm going to try as best as I can to make it production level so you can deploy it in your own setup. I have it set up for pfSense with Suricata, and then you're going to have a logging server running OpenSearch and Logstash. Did you make smoked ribs? Yitz did. Chief is going to dread the review on stream this stream. Yeah, and we'll probably have more tomorrow. And maybe a stream on Friday. I still got to make some videos and all that. I got a sponsor I promised I'd make a video for. And I gotta stop making projects that end up using Doppler and stuff before I make the video, because now I gotta rewrite the script to include Yo Mama as a service. What sparked your brain this week? You came in a little late, but here, I'll show you. I can't show the entire dashboard. Wait, maybe I can. Hold on. Let me see if I can at least stretch this out. Sorry, my throat is killing me. Again, that's what she said. Alright, so I'm just bringing this down so we don't show anything too sensitive. Alright. Hytale is an official release date, Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Great. I know you've been looking forward to that for a while. So this is what I made this week. This is a dashboard that monitors my intrusion detection and prevention system on pfSense, so I can actually get real-time alerts and historical data. So the idea is I'll be able to go back as far as 30 days to do some analysis. I set up the entire, today, why I'm late on stream, I set up the entire LAN to have intrusion detection, at least on there, not prevention, just detection. So I can now detect east-west movement, or as other people know it as lateral movement, inside the network. So if somebody actually does get inside the network and then starts to crawl around, I can actually see where they're going. Yeah, this is Grafana. So this is a dashboard I made. This is all coming from my pfSense. I have a Python that I made as a forwarder, tuned the IDS IPS, so you can see, I can see the different event type distributions here, quick, TLS, DNS, file info, HTTP, SSH, regular alert over there. I gotta figure out what's, oh yeah, that's just regular alerts. Drop alerts and DHCP, UDP, TCP, IP, and MIP. And then these are all the lag networks along with my primary and my backup network. Would you use Prometheus? This is actually using OpenSearch and Logstash. Eventually be adding Graylog on top of it. I have not added Prometheus yet. I'll be using Prometheus for the metrics of the servers and stuff that I'll be doing. I'm using Influx for the other dashboard, which I can show you. This is the pfSense dashboard over here. Not everything, as you can see at the bottom, there's IP addresses and all that I'm not showing, but there's a lot of, detail that I can get in here. I'll flip over in a second and show you. But you can see I got basic metrics over here, including the temperature of the CPU, the average load, the state files, CPU load right now. You can see, like, before I got my lag groups with IDS on and after. It's not too much more than that, but it's like 17.3% even with all the load going on it. Not too bad. You can see the number of users in there, so there's that. On the IDS IPS side, you've got the metrics. You can drill into it. And then let me... What is the advantage to using InfluxDB? So Prometheus is better for... InfluxDB is better for network measurements and stuff like that. Basically, you're pushing it into a database. And if I remember, Prometheus is more of a pull. There's pros and cons to each. Influx is better for some of the networking stuff. Like with my Unify equipment, how you detect lateral movement. This is the first part of it, is the IDS IPS. So, basically, I have the intrusion detection and intrusion prevention system set up, so, God damn it. Hold on. I'm on the wrong screen here. I have the wrong dashboard. Okay, there we go. I have ones that look alike, but I'm still fixing them. So, you can have the detections over here. And what that'll do is, then I can correlate that once I get the SIEM deployed, probably with Wuzza. So imagine I'll have agents to be able to detect what's going on in the system, correlate that to network activity, and then that can create alerts from there. Hit the wrong button. I'm just all over the place tonight. And the other thing that I got set up over here, I can't quite show everything. Hold on. God damn it, I'm messing up my dashboards. I'm trying to get this so I can show you it. That'll be good enough. Yeah. That'll work. I can get the gateway real-time latency over here, so I can tell when there's latency issues on my primary and backup network. I can see the gateway loss for when there's packet loss and everything. These are blips of when I was trying to change things on the network and troubleshooting. What Linux OS is best for someone trying to move from Linux to Windows to Linux gradually? There's quite a few out there. I like Pop OS. But there's, you know, some people swear by Linux Mint or wait, not that lag group. There's quite a few options out there. The suggestion that I have is to find the one that works best for your workflow. Go and play. And get out of the mindset of what's best, because the reality is there is no what's best universally. There's what's best for you. You can have 10 people in a room that all use different Linuxes and it's the best for them. But don't listen to the Arch users. They don't touch grass. We know, Abby. We know you use Arch. So this is stuff that I can do. I can actually see in real time the traffic for my different networks. Gotta figure out why that math is showing like that. That ain't right. Negative 891. I gotta figure out where that negative's coming from. But I can see in real time the data flow on the Unify thing. This is the PF sense from where it's at. And then I have entire dashboards for Unify. So, yeah. Here's your CPU and GPU, or AMD or Intel. AMD CPU and NVIDIA GPU. Hit the first hop after your modem and you can track the local lines too. Yep. Chief leaked his IP. Yeah, my IP is 127.0.0.1. Go ahead, hit it all as hard as you want. I'm sure my network will take it at 127.0.0.1. What's a good gaming Linux laptop? I recommend, hey, that's mine. 167.89.79.8. What's a good gaming Linux laptop? So, there's two companies that I really like. So, you can honestly use Lenovo and Dell laptops. They have a lot of support. Actually, Dell released a laptop to Linux users first, before Windows users. I personally like Tuxedo computers. This is mine. This is the Stellaris Slim 15. This has a AMD Ryzen 8845HS and NVIDIA 4070, 96 gigabytes of RAM, and a 2 terabyte NVMe, and I can fit a second NVMe in there. With a 3-year warranty, this came to about $2,500 with customization. They put my logo on there. That's not a sticker. You can get it very clean. And they even put my logo on the super key down here, also known as the start button. It's a very nice laptop. System 76 is another great brand. The only reason I didn't get System 76 this time was I was dead set on getting an AMD CPU and an NVIDIA GPU combo. They just didn't have that. But Tuxedo System 76, if you're looking for a pure Linux laptop, great choice. I hear good things also about Nova Custom. I have not used them myself, but I'm eyeing them for my next Cubes OS laptop. But you can use Dell, you can use Lenovo. Just avoid, like, Asus and weird crap like that. Like, what is it? Asus and MSI are notoriously bad. Not just in Linux, just in general. Arch users are shapeshifters, aliens. Yeah, pretty much. You kind of want to see IPv6 as like, IPv6 is horrible. My cell modem runs IPv6. Now, the annoying thing about my cell modem is that you can't bridge the IP directly from it. So I have it double natted, basically. So it's going from a, it's basically a router in front of another router, and I had to modify that router to be on a subnet that I totally was not even anywhere near. But yeah. Why is Asus bad? Had like 3 gens of ZenBooks, all are great. Ever had to deal with their support on an OEM laptop, or how quickly they actually do not support them? They're not great for right to repair. Don't get me wrong. Individual parts from Asus, pretty good. OEM machines from them, how about Purism laptop? I have Purism, do not get me wrong. I like my Purism. The reason why I won't recommend people buy a new Purism now is it's still using Intel 10th generation CPUs and charging the prices that they do. That's why I'm looking at Nova Custom, because Nova Custom gives me all the features I want with Purism. Running core boot, you know, so you can disable Intel ME, have a completely free BIOS, have heads on there so you can do signature signing with the key, just like, so I got all the features with Purism, but I got newer CPUs. So I have nothing wrong with my Purism laptop that I have. I love it. It's great. But if you were to buy a new Purism right now today, I would not recommend it. Not at least until they come out with more modern CPUs. I think Nova Custom is shipping 13th or 14th gen Intel CPUs with them. But I do like Purism's laptop. It's great. It's been serving me well for a little over 3 years. I did have to replace the battery in it. But look, you get a laptop for a few years, you actually use it pretty well, you're going to need to replace the battery. I just replaced the battery in my System 76 Pangolin laptop, and that's pushing like 5 years almost. I still use it for Parrot OS. It's still a daily driver laptop of mine. I do want to get the, CPU upgrade for the MNT Pocket Reform to hopefully make that the true daily driver, but tariffs. The Cheeto-in-Chief has really ruined it. Getting all the tinkerings and stuff like that. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be doing another project soon. So I'm gonna be moving to Zero Trust Network Access. I know a lot of people have been talking about like Tailscale. I want to go to Zero Trust Network Access. Not just, you know, peer-to-peer VPN, that kind of thing. I want proper ZTNA with conditional access controls and capability to do RBAC, role-based access control. Little overkill, but I'm going to be playing with TwinGate again. And what made me think about this was I was like sitting around and I'm like, I've got, what, one, come on. I've got 3 Raspberry Pi 3B Pluses over here. Actually 4. But all 3 of these have PoE shields. You know, so they all can do power over Ethernet. At least I think they can. This one? I think does. I think this one has PoE. Anyway, I have a few that have PoE. I know I have at least 2. I may have to buy a 3rd PoE hat. Anyway. And I'm going to be using them as nodes to allow, as in Zscaler terms, we call them app connectors. So that way I can tunnel into my network with any device that has TwinGate installed on it and I'm logged into. So from anywhere in the world, I can log into my device, kind of like a VPN. But it's not a full VPN in the sense like a lot of people will route everything over it. I would just be split tunneling it. I know some people are like, well, you can use OpenVPN and all that. Well, what I'm going to be doing is creating another VLAN on my pfSense that's just going to have the TwinGate nodes. And I'm going to allow that to actually have access to reach any other part of the network that I want to have. And then I can set conditional access so it can only access different parts of the network I want it to. So let's say Yitz wants to remotely connect in. He can only access certain parts of the network. Thoughts on using a remote Pop! OS gaming machine, remote machine using Tailscale and Sunshine? Remote gaming does not work that well. Latency is a bitch. Why OpenVPN? Why not WireGuard? I think it's basically using WireGuard. And the Raspberry Pi 3B Pluses are more than enough for what I need to do. The reason why is, even though I know they're limited to about 100 megabits a second, I don't really need all that much. Quickly getting a PoE hat that I need for, Raspberry Pi. The annoying thing is I don't remember which one was the official. There's a lot of PoE hats. Can't remember which one I got. I may have to look into that later. Yeah. They all got fans. That's the important part. I'll have to take a look at it later. I use TwinGate for some of my Proxmox machines to let my admins access the GUI of game servers. Yeah, TwinGate's nice stuff. They have a free plan that can work for quite a few people. I'm actually really surprised with what they do. Now, of course, I would love to have Zscaler, but Zscaler wants, like, they're pure enterprise, and this is where I think a lot of companies really miss the mark. They need to understand the clientele. You get in with the geeks. Those are the people that are going to end up, you know, being evangelists for your product. Because now that I've used Zscaler, yeah, I have my complaints about it, but I actually like Zscaler. But they want a minimum of 50 seats. And I think, what was it they quoted me? Something like, I think it was like 25K a year. And I'm like, I don't have that kind of money. And I don't have that many people. Like, I need at most, like, 3. No ads on the YouTube stream. Yeah, but the YouTube stream is, like, extremely laggy, and I have not been able to figure out why. I'm surprised a lot of you haven't figured out the other site that I'm streaming to. Well, some of you know. Some of you just refuse to go on it. I'm trying to see if I have a PoE hat in this. I don't think I do. Did I see what I did to my YouTube? What did you do to YouTube? YouTube works great. I don't know, like, every time I've been on there and I've, like, people are saying it's lagging behind it, and I've seen it lag. I know when I, yeah, this does not have a PoE hat, so I'm gonna need to pick up a PoE hat. I mean, technically I've got one I can pull off a Pi 4. Actually, you know what? I may just do that. Because another thing I've been thinking of doing is, I want to make, once I get all these dashboards done, I want to make a Grafana kiosk that right by the network rack somewhere, I'm going to have a Raspberry Pi next to a, well, behind a monitor that I'm going to vase mount to the wall to actually give me an idea of all the metrics that are happening. So imagine I need to troubleshoot something, I can immediately just look at that and be like, network's good. It's DNS. It's always DNS. Yeah, I want to get uniformity, so it's like, what PoE hat did I buy? No, it's the official Raspberry Pi. Okay. Yeah, so I got the official Raspberry Pi PoE hat in this. Okay. I wonder if they still make it. They should. You know, these are actually pretty low profile. Don't know why they didn't keep that standard. I do have to say, Raspberry Pis kind of impressed me with how long they last. Oh, it's in general. I've been doing so much shit. I broke my network today. Alright, how far back do I have to scroll, Vampire? Because I'm at, like, yesterday already. Oh, today? I, like, go past it? I see the Trezor thing at like 4 o'clock in the morning. You don't sleep. Thoughts on Winboat? What's Winboat? Was that the thing people were talking about to run Windows apps on Linux? Or is that something else? It was about your next going out. My what? You're gonna have to tag me. I don't remember. I'm all over the place. But anyway, so we got that taken care of. The network's at least running. Hooray. I'm happy about that. Is above your... Oh, the network going out. Okay. The Hypixel? Oh, I don't want to see this ad so much on YouTube. I got an 18+ ad. The funny thing was the ad was better than all the other ads they've shown. Sad thing is I would prefer seeing those over politics and religious ads. Yeah, they keep trying to throw Charlie Kirk or what's her face that's now taking it over. Like, they keep trying to throw Turning Point USA ads at me, and I'm like, dude, I'm just not interested. Like... It has nothing, well, in part it has to do with their politics, but I just don't care for political ads, period. I really don't watch a lot of political content outside of tech policies and, you know, understanding the general what's going on. Yeah. Do you think cybersecurity jobs are saturated? No, it's not saturated so much as that you have an issue of a mismatch of, employer expectations and reality. They keep saying that they, you know, have a shortage of, you know, cybersecurity professionals. The reality is, you have companies that are looking to check every single box, but don't realize the majority of things in the boxes, they can learn on the job. Like, this is what blows my mind. People that are, like, the companies that keep going, like, what dropped? Oh. The companies that are like, we need you to know CrowdStrike and, you know, Proofpoint, or, you know, name 50 million vendors, and they need you to have several years of experience with it. Well, here's the thing. A lot of the tools that people are using, there's nothing really unique about them as long as you know the concepts. When I came into my job, I didn't know AWS, but I've used DigitalOcean and Linode. I didn't know CrowdStrike, but I knew Bitdefender Gravity Zone and ESET and Sophos. I didn't know Zscaler, but I've done a lot of networking over the years with many different technologies. I didn't know Proofpoint, but I knew Securance, I knew Barracuda, and I knew, crap, what was the open source email filter thing? Anyway, I knew those concepts. And when I told, when I was interviewing for the job, and they're like, do you know this? And I'm like, I have not been given the opportunity, but I would love to. You never say no. You say, I just have not been given the opportunity. And it only took me a few months to wrap my head around it. And then you're like, okay, I got a pretty firm grasp on things that I can start troubleshooting and doing all that. And now I'm dealing with CrowdStrike's API and Zscaler's API, and I'm terraforming into AWS with, using Spacelift of the CI/CD from the Bitbucket stash that we had. Never dealt with Bitbucket before. Sure as hell done Git before. So the problem that you're seeing a lot in the, I'm trying to figure out what the hell is getting caught. The problem that you're seeing with employers is they are looking for candidates to have absolutely every box ticked. And there are people that have told me they've had positions open at companies, not because they're like ghost jobs or anything, but they literally have turned down so many candidates because they're looking for this unicorn candidate. And that in the meantime, they don't realize, not hiring the employee, that, you could train up and they hit 70, 80% of your check boxes, and then just, you can fill in the rest. It's costing them more because now they're out of compliance. Then they have cybersecurity issues. Maybe they get breached in the middle of the time. And all that you could have had, a cybersecurity professional, in the different areas, remedy these issues. So it's not that cybersecurity saturated. It's the problem of employers are out of touch with the cybersecurity market. Case in point, okay? I feel like I have to go back to school to get my bachelor's degree, so I'm starting that in January, purely because they want to see their candidates have a bachelor's degree. There is not a damn thing a bachelor's degree has of any value after I've been in the field for 15 years. So I'm going to go back to school for a few months just to get my damn freaking stupid piece of paper for a 4-year degree, even though I have a CISSP certification, just because it checks a box for HR. And HR is not even qualified to review half of these resumes. I have a friend of mine that's trying to see if I can get in a position. Technically, I'd be above him. HR rejected my resume because it didn't, match with their criteria, but he looked at my resume, handed it to the manager and the director, and why did he get rejected? And it was purely because, and this is the thing I tell people all the time, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Because by virtue of knowing that guy, I messaged him on Signal, and I'm like, hey, what's going on with the application you had me put in? And you got rejected. I'm gonna fix that. The majority of the time, it's not what you know, it's who you know to get jobs or moving anywhere. What university are you going to? I'm pretty much going to WGU. Primarily because, look, I'm not going to have the time to sit down in a classroom. They accept all of my prior credits and stuff that I've had. The stupid thing is I have to go through IT 101 courses, IT Foundations. So basically I was told I can just take the pre-assessment, see how well I do, take the final, probably pass each class within a day or two. Realistically, I can probably knock all 23 courses I think I have to take out probably within 6 months, because I know I don't have to take any of my gen eds because of my prior degree, and my CISSP knocked out some of the cybersecurity course requirements and pretty much everything else they have to do. This is what's stupid also. I have to take a class on prompt engineering. Me, the guy who's literally sat here using GitHub Copilot Pro Plus with Claude, getting it to do my damn shit, because it's faster to yell at it than it is for me to do the thing half the time. Can I do the thing? Yes. But there's a difference between getting it done in hours and days versus days and weeks. What degree is it? Cybersecurity, assurance, or... It's a bachelor's of cybersecurity, basically. I thought about going down one on the Coursera XCU Boulder degree route. So there is a way you can actually go a little faster. So I was put down to this little study hack or credit hack from some friends. It's called study.com. You can actually take courses before you properly enroll, and there was only one class I had to take, which was ethics, because I'm such an unethical person. And I just have to take the final, so I'm probably going to do that tomorrow or Friday. I already finished it, and then I can send the credits in, and then get that knocked out, and that only took me about a week. And right now, I passed so many of the chapter tests pretty well that I literally only have to score 36% on the final to pass the class. And it's a lot easier than going to these other colleges and sitting for weeks upon weeks. So yeah, study.com. It is a little bit of money. They have a $95 plan and a $200 and some odd dollar plan. Depends on what you want to do. The $200 and some odd dollar one I got because it's, I thought I was going to have to take more courses than I did, but, yeah. How's the proctoring device going? Oh, it's fine. It's over here. It's just a Lenovo IdeaPad. I just got to, why I'm taking so long to do the final, I just got to clear out the ham shack where it's going to be. So, yeah. Oh, thank you for the follow, Despero. Don't know why it didn't go off. What is with my alerts lately? Like, Stream Elements, come on! This is why I gotta move all my alerts and stuff locally, and you've been seeing me build more and more of my automations. You just can't trust these, services to hook in and do the thing reliably. There's supposed to be music. There's supposed to be a dance. Just upgraded my net card to ASFP port plugin. It's so much more stable. Nice. Is it like a monthly? Yeah, it's a monthly fee, but I only have to do the 1 month, so, after I finish the class, transfer the credits, I'm going to cancel, the subscription, and I shouldn't need it anymore, because a lot of the, study.com courses, the tech stuff won't transfer. But yeah. But yeah, I got the Lenovo IdeaPad with Windows 11 Enterprise. So I got into an argument with somebody because they're like, your Windows 7 Enterprise key isn't going to work anymore. And I'm like, bullshit, watch this. And sure enough, it activated. Alright. We got a few videos here to go through. We watched that internet protocol. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, I should probably test the sound. Make sure y'all can hear. Hold on. I'm gonna make sure the audio works for all of y'all.
Front, left.
Okay, cool. It works on my side, just sometimes the video card doesn't output to the capture card over there, weirdly. I don't know. I got Xbox Game Pass Premium just to play games on my desktop using internet. I don't want to give Microsoft more money than I have to. Which is really just Office 365 at this point. Alright, so let's see what Vampire and the team sent me.
Been completely out of IP addresses for nearly 15 years.
Yeah.
It started in the 80s,
This
but
is old
in
news.
2011, the last remaining IPv4, or Internet Protocol version 4 address got scooped up, and we've been recirculating them ever since. But
Yeah, there
the
are
V4
auctions for that, and they
part
get
of
very
IPv4
expensive.
implies the existence of other protocols, right? So why don't we just switch to that jazz?
That detective. is the right question.
It's not exactly that simple. The equivalent of IPv1, 2, and 3 were all experiments with early versions of the internet that didn't quite catch on. And while we collectively learned things from them that were implemented in IPv4, they're all pretty much abandoned. IPv5 was another experiment dedicated to providing end-to-end real-time transmissions that specifically put an emphasis on voice communications, and that was eventually scrapped and parted out into what we now know as VoIP, or Voice over Internet Protocol. And IPv7, 8, and 9 were all proposals to fundamentally change the way IP addresses work. All of them popped up in the 90s and none caught on. IPv6 is pretty much the only way to continue with the new addresses today. It is being used, just not on nearly as big of a scale as
there's
before.
A lot of pain with it.
That's why cost it take to fundamentally re-engineer essentially every piece of the internet to accommodate it. And turns out people don't like spending money.
It's not really the engineering and the cost of it. It's the headache having to deal with it. If you've ever had to administrate IPv6, the security around it, and just a lot more, it's a lot more to deal with. That's why IPv4 is still used to this day. Primarily by a lot of people. Like, even the network architects at work, you know, if you want to get them to want to smother you in your sleep, mention how you want to move the architecture over to IPv6. What distro am I using? I'm using Pop! OS Linux. So, yeah. Man, you got a lot of this guy's shorts. I like never see this guy, that's the funny thing. IPv5, it hurts when I pee. Recently moved to Office 365 only, I hate it and suggested LibreOffice. So here's the reality. I use LibreOffice on my Windows piece, I mean Linux box over here. Excel still is better than LibreOffice Calc. I'm just being honest with you. It works okay, but once you're actually doing serious things, Calc works a lot better. I mean, Excel works a lot better. And the ecosystem with Office 365 and collaborative tools is a lot better. Plus, it includes Teams. I know people complain about it, but the reality is, cost-effective wise, it's the best option out there. Because if you go with Google Workspace, for example, great. Now you're probably still going to have to end up getting Slack. Then you're going to end up like piecemealing all these other tools and you have a fractured ecosystem. That's just the way it is. I've had to support these in multiple ways. I feel like finance bros are going to latch onto Excel for a long time. Yep. They will. Until Calc at least gets reasonable, there's just a few things with formulas and stuff it just doesn't do well.
Website that tells you if other websites went down also sometimes goes down. Down Detector had an outage recently, so naturally someone on the internet had to make a down detector for Down Detector until it was back up, which of course prompted someone to make a down detector for the down detector for the down detector. And we even made it to a down detector for the down detector for the down detector for the down detector, which as of the time of writing this are all still legitimately operational. And all of this happened just because Cloudflare had an off Tuesday. But hey, at least we'll
this shows you that people were bored.
Like this happens. The website.
Okay. So HBX also shared this article. Google is looking to take over the desktop with Aluminium OS. That's gonna be trouble to get popular if I can't even say that right. Chrome OS is more than a decade old, but it has never posed a real threat to Macs and PCs in the high or mid-range category. It was not because there weren't any premium Chromebooks, but because the underlying OS was on par with the powerful features users have on Windows and Mac OS. No, it's because the average person that gets a Chromebook it's designed for a web browser. That's all it is. This is one of the reasons Google was looking to replace Chrome OS with Android. Felt believable when they first surfaced in November last year. We can no longer treat it as merely a rumor because Google made it official at this year's Snapdragon Summit, and now the company has accidentally revealed more information about what users can expect from Android on the desktop. Google's Android desktop will focus on the new AI wave everyone's riding.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
Does my mailman have a mailman? Does my mailman have a mailman? How far does this go? Who detects the down detecting, detecting, down detecting, down detects, down detests, down deception? Therapists have therapists. This is true. Interestingly, Google has chosen a British spelling for the project's code name. See, that's why it won't work. Aluminium. That's just not a thing that rolls off American tongues. Aluminium. I don't know. That just doesn't sound right. It sounds like I need to go throw some tea in the frickin' harbor. Okay, what can we expect from Android on the desktop? I think Google's basically running out of ideas. They've been riding the coattails of, like, Android, and the issue is they're so far behind, in the AI wave. Like, they're actually getting eaten up because everyone will use, LLMs over Google. I was using my Linux USB and my Windows as a BitLock. It didn't tell me about, why did it do that? What, Windows? I don't know. Windows has done a lot of weird things, and they've been requiring BitLocker on devices, which, yes, I installed BitLocker on my devices, but that's because I choose to have BitLocker. Alright. Dell goes Linux first. So this was something I saw. Apparently, Dell released the device on Linux first before Windows, and I'm interested to see if this is going to be a continuing trend.
Today on Switch to Linux, we talk about Dell launching a version of its computer for Linux even before it is launched for Windows. What does this mean, and why are they doing that? This is an interesting discussion. Thanks for checking out this video by Switch to Linux. If you like this type of content, leave us a like and a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. And today we want to talk about this new Dell computer, and this comes from its FOSS. And so Linux first, Windows later. Dell launches a Qualcomm NPU laptop on Linux before it launches on Windows.
Really?
This is interesting because Dell, of course, has released computers with Linux for a long time, although you're not going to walk into Best Buy and probably get it. But if you go onto Dell's website, you can go on and you can select if you want to get Ubuntu or Windows. And usually the Ubuntu one's going to cost you less because you don't have to pay for a Windows license. This did cause some controversy a number of years ago, maybe back to almost, I don't know, 15, 20 years, I forget. It was before I was using Linux, and there was this article, like this news story about this girl who, she gets a computer and she gets the cheaper computer for college, and then she's getting all mad because she goes to set up her internet, and she puts in, of course, that CD into your computer. That, why do you even use these? Like, did that actually do something? I've never had to install software to get my ISP set up, but she puts it in there and it doesn't know how to read it. And she's like, this school computer doesn't work. And she like drops out of school because her computer won't work with the programs that she has to use for college. It was absurdly stupid. But all that was because Dell shipped an Ubuntu computer because the woman bought an Ubuntu computer because it was cheaper. And that was kind of fun.
Seriously? Like, don't get me wrong. I'm all for Linux, but don't you think you would have noticed, hey, something here, it's not right. I got a laptop and it looks totally different. Why does it have this circular logo here? Why is it making drum beats when I log into my laptop? I have to say, I hate to say it this way, but that's on you if you bought a laptop with Linux and then drop out because of it, you probably weren't going to make it through college if you couldn't figure out that, you know, read the coursework on the requirements for the laptop, and then you buy the laptop with the hardware and software requirements. Anyway. It even says it on the website. Yeah, they don't make that a secret. Like, here's the thing. When you go to buy a Windows laptop, they just say, yeah, it's a laptop here. It has Windows. It'll maybe spell out it's got Windows Home or Pro. But when they sell it as a Linux laptop, they go out of their way to let you know it's a Linux laptop. Because primarily, the people that want to buy it are Linux users. So they're specifically looking for Linux. She wasn't going to make it through college if, you know, her critical thinking skills were not that great. I mean, what stopped her from installing Windows on the Linux laptop and just going to the school IT department or finding a person that has just some basic tech skills? Unless you're telling me you literally don't know any nerds. Anyway. Listen, it had Linux and it was a Dell. Well, so does this. Something business school. Well, she was going to fail at running a business too.
But
any used ThinkPad would get a IT student really far. Second and third gen T4. Yeah, a secondhand laptop from Dell or Lenovo, the business lines, not the consumer lines. Perfectly fine. They're great. HP, it depends on the generation. School IT wouldn't install Windows on it. Most school IT isn't allowed to. I'm not saying the IT wouldn't would do it for you, but they could tell you what you need to do. It's not that hard to say, hey, you go and you buy Windows. You put it on with this flash drive. Like, installing an operating system is not that hard. Or, you know, they could... I've known a lot of people that, you know, worked in school IT that would say, look, I can't do it while I'm here, but I'll do it after hours. Buy me lunch or something. Or have a friend in tech. BIOS is a scary word. Well, apparently so is business school, apparently.
In this, the point I want to make is that Dell has made certified Linux computers for a long time.
Yeah,
and
they
honestly, if I'm getting a pre-manufactured computer, I personally like Dell. Yes, I know they've had some problems, and they've had some things that have kind of irritated them on my end, but at the same time, what I like about Dell, every one of their computers that I've ever bought, they are easily repairable. They make all the parts available. They make the schematics available. And in fact, I bought one of the better computers I have. I bought it for a pawn shop for $100, and I think the pawn shop was trying to sell it off on somebody that, you know, because I think they knew the charging port was bad. And so they were selling it off and just hoping to unload it. And then it was somebody else's problem because, you know, you buy it, you know, whatever. What they didn't know is I recognized that was a potential problem with that computer. And what they also don't know is a charging port for that computer is $7 and it takes 10 minutes to install.
Well, they don't want to expense the labor.
Probably
and a lot of pawn shops don't have tech people. So yeah.
Because I know more about the industry than they did.
I've gotten great deals that way too.
Very good piece of hardware that all of the parts are available. I can get them. I can replace them. Now, is this going to be the case for these NPU computers going forward? Who knows? Our whole world is moving anti-consumer. I'm just speaking from the past so far. They say here many of their devices come with compatible drivers working out of the box, audio, Wi-Fi, Thunderbolt ports, and even fingerprint readers. Mostly work without a hassle. The Dell Workhorse is a Dell laptop that hasn't had a driver-related issue for quite some time.
Yeah, Dell's been pretty solid for Linux.
Dell Pro Max 16. They launched a Pro Max 16, marketed as the first mobile workstation with enterprise-grade discrete NPU. The Qualcomm AI 100 PC interface card. It packs 64 gigs of dedicated AI memory and dual NPUs on a single card. AI again. AI
is the most overhyped buzzword of anything. Wait. Doggo. Hey, guys. Hey. Ooh, those nails. Yeah. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah, those are good specs, though. Y'all want a treat? Is that why you came here? Ari, Chev, Lamala. Good boy. Chev, Lamala. Good boy. Y'all want another treat? Come here, Ari. Chev. Lamala. Come on. Hey, you're under the desk. Okay. Yeah. Lamala. Good boy. Good dogs. You want an NPU to experiment with? I have a couple of SBCs that have NPUs. They're not the most powerful thing. I heard the word AI here while looking at something random on a Discord about AI, while also seeing someone else complain about it in another chat within 15 seconds. I cannot get away from AI. Well, if you want a fun use of AI, go into my Discord server, which, by the way, if any of you aren't already members of, you should join the Discord and the Matrix server. The links are in bio. I have a bot. It's called Yo Mama as a Service, where you can have it do Yo Mama jokes. It's running on a Raspberry Pi locally in my lab, and it will use Google Gemini to use AI to make Yo Mama jokes. And you can give it a meanness scale of 1 to 11. Why 11? Because it's one louder. And you can make it as nerdy between 1 to 10 on various different topics, or you can just do plain old-fashioned Yo Mama jokes. I just want a small car loan server that can train models. Is that too much to ask? Yeah, I want an NVIDIA H100 myself. I don't even need an H200 or an H100. Or at least get me a couple of NVIDIA DGX Sparks. Or I'd like to be able to get... So the NVIDIA DGX Spark can do bigger models, but the NVIDIA 5090 can do them faster. But anyway.
And this instance, the reason they're doing this is because they have built a computer that can do AI if you want to do it on a local model without being cloud first.
Yo
And
Mama,
remember,
the reason
that's
soap
where
has
Windows
extra...
is going, cloud first. And that might be much to the chagrins of many industries who may not want all of the
Tesla
information
P40 was
on
probably
cloud
highly
first.
outdated now, yeah.
Can we trust doctors' offices with Windows 11 that patient data is not getting, uploaded to Microsoft servers, which we know is not fully encrypted against everything? No, Microsoft can still see what's in those servers. And it really begs a serious question about it, especially since Microsoft is so aggressive about pushing you to it. And frankly, the people running doctors' offices are not the most computer tech savvy.
Oh, I can vouch for that. I've dealt with the
I
IT for so many.
so I just did it, And then before you know it, HIPAA
Why does
violations
the
are
air
flying in and out of
suddenly
your
like
office
nothing?
like there's no tomorrow. And some shrew at Microsoft is getting paid a whole lot of money to silently pass a few files back and forth, because that's kind of how it tends to work. But what we see here, as a system, a computer that's built to be able to do all of your processes, and they're targeting down here professionals who can't rely on
I want more
cloud
Cam 2
interfacing.
laptops. That form
Says
factor is
that the
really cool.
screen
Well, it's
NPU
going to be a
keeps the
while
data
until
on the device while eliminating
we
cloud
probably see that,
latency,
especially with
enabling
RAM
work in
prices.
air-gapped environments, disconnected locations, and compliance-heavy industries. But I wonder why Dell is pushing this out to Linux before it goes anywhere else. Maybe it couldn't possibly, because Windows seems to assume that everybody has full-fledged gigabit up and down, wants everything on the cloud, and provides no official options to
This is true.
otherwise, and actively blocks any workarounds people seem to find.
So on that laptop I set up for proctoring, the proctored tests and everything, I had to Not because I have an enterprise key, but for some reason it wouldn't work with the enterprise ISO. It's a whole other thing. It had to do with the drivers on Lenovo, and Pro apparently had the drivers. Anyway, I had to use a retail version of Windows to install it, then activate it with my enterprise key. I had to make sure I had no network connectivity to be able to set up a local account because I didn't want to use a Microsoft account. And it fought me tooth and nail when I forgot and I put Ethernet in to my laptop thinking, because I'm so spoiled by Linux, where it's like, oh, just plug it in and it'll grab the updates and I'll make my local account and da-da-da-da-da. No, you can't even do that on a Pro or Enterprise version. So I had to completely reinstall Windows again and make sure it was unplugged. It is so dumb that Microsoft is doing this, that they're making it feel like it's not your computer, but rather that you're just renting someone else's machine.
So Dell does something interesting here. So you get a really good, Intel Core Ultra processor, the 256 gigabyte CAM.
Healthcare, not IT. I've seen all kinds of crap these doctors do. It was actually kind of scary sometimes. Oh yeah, absolutely.
GPU options up to NVIDIA RTX Pro 5000 with 24 gigs of VRAM.
Damn.
And 12 terabytes with storage at 12 terabytes with RAID support. There you go.
Now that's a car loan right
Windows
there.
11 on this will not ship until early 2026. There is already a
open license
validated
being
Ubuntu
CMM
24.04 LTS for this computer. So for people that still want to have computing without being perpetually connected to a cloud.
I know a server upgrade a month ago and was waiting for Black Friday for the RAM.
Security risk to do so.
Oh, what a mistake I made.
Has released a really good, really beefy.
I luckily bought my RAM for my 2 server boxes last month.
For the people that do not want all of the cloud infrastructure, is this kind of the first step towards the world looking at Windows and going, maybe a whole lot of businesses should be moving off of it because it's a giant security risk that Microsoft seems to want to.
Now, this is interesting about the laptop before we get into his point. It's got an eSIM in there, so you can do, with that Qualcomm Snapdragon, it can have cell data. That's nice. Wish more laptops had that option for cellular data without having to plug in another modem.
Throw AI everywhere, use the data collected to train AI, and upload it all to
Your
the
Xbox warranty expired.
That was a security
6 years ago.
Serious business risk in many instances. Of course, you will be looking at paying over $3,000 for this guy, so I'm not exactly going to be buying one anytime soon. However, it's neat to see them coming out with an option that is targeting to people who do not want to or cannot rely.
Well, given the specs inside of it, I can see why.
On cloud interfacing. And so that is an interesting push in the world of tech like this. So let me know your thoughts about all that.
Laptop cell plans, that would be dope.
They used to have is this really a shift.
Lenovo used to sell a ton of laptops with cell modems as an option.
All of the online stuff Microsoft is trying to do. Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments down below.
Yeah. And while we were doing that video, I also bought my PoE hat. They don't make official Raspberry Pi hats anymore for the 3B Plus/4, so I'm going to get another one there. Anyway, continuing on. What's this video about? Windows 11 just crossed the line. Here's why Linux users are laughing. Okay.
Okay, real talk. I just wasted 3 hours of my life trying to delete one file from Windows 11.
Wait, what?
The service keeps restarting itself. The file comes back like some kind of digital zombie. Windows literally gives me error messages that might as well say, try again, loser. And my buddy who switched to Linux last year, he's already finished his work, played Elden Ring, and is halfway through a Netflix series. So I had to know, what are Linux users seeing that we're missing? And honestly, after going down this rabbit hole, I get why they're laughing. So look, for the past few weeks, I've been making these videos about Windows 11 spy files, the activities cache thing, all the telemetry stuff, Copilot basically watching over your shoulder while you work. And the comments section? Absolute chaos.
Wait, what does it say? Hold on. Oh, god damn it. I just jumped back to the beginning. Hold on. Okay. Whatever I do, I get the process cannot be access the file because it is used by another process, and I followed exactly as you showed. Any tips? None of the command prompts killed the service that is preventing me from deleting that file. Ah. But will Windows create the file again? If so, is there a way to prevent that? These are seriously problems we don't have. You can delete a file, and Linux will just be like, okay! And then it'll error out and be like, you played yourself, buddy.
And here's the thing nobody wants to admit out loud. You straight up cannot fully disable Windows telemetry on the Home Edition. Like, Microsoft literally designed the system so that you can't turn everything off. It's not a bug, it's a feature. For them. Look at this nightmare. There are like 47 different privacy toggles scattered across 5 different menus. You spend an entire
the data plans, you can get like a Mint Mobile for $20 a month.
Feeling like a privacy ninja. Then, Windows Update rolls through overnight, and surprise, they're all back on again. It's literally whack-a-mole with your own computer.
In case the new girlfriend wants to play
and we gotta talk about recall for a
second.
second. This is Microsoft's new
when
AI
Linux deletes
that takes screenshots of everything you do every few seconds. Everything. Microsoft's like, don't worry, it's
$55.56 a month
your
for
data
Google
stays on your computer. We added encryption
I have Google
after
Fi,
everyone
and
freaked
I also
out.
have Mint Mobile.
Cool.
Yeah.
Except security researchers already...
Here. So, if you're worried about will, the data work on your laptop? Yeah, it'll work just fine. I used a Mint Mobile SIM on that mini laptop I have. There's functionally no difference between the SIM in a laptop and the SIM. It's a cell modem. All you have to do is follow the carrier requirements for the APN and whatever else you need to do, and it'll work. So go get a cheap cell modem plan, a cell phone plan, like a Mint Mobile. I have a 15 gigabyte a month plan, but I might go for Minternet. Just buy their little Minternet, device, and then take the SIM out of it and put it in my laptop, get unlimited data for like $30 a month.
Found it capturing credit card numbers,
passwords, service that my employer forces us to subscribe to.
All that stuff that's supposedly smart enough to ignore. You know what Linux users did when they heard about recall? They didn't panic. They didn't rush to disable it. They didn't need 17 Reddit threads explaining workarounds. They just laughed.
Yep.
Because this entire problem doesn't exist in their world.
No.
Right, so let me show you something that absolutely broke my brain when I first saw it. I'm going to do the exact same task on both operating systems. Just deleting your activity logs. That's it. Windows 11. Open command prompt as admin. Okay, searching for it. Type the netstop commands. And error message. Of course. Google the error. Okay, trying task manager. Still locked. Why is it locked? Back to Reddit. Someone must have solved this. Try again. Maybe it worked.
When I tell people all the time, Windows isn't easier to use than Linux. It's just you're used to it. And Linux is actually easier. And if given the, if you put a person in, let's say they just came from the 1980s, okay? A yuppie person, sit them in front of a Windows and a Linux computer and tell them, you got to learn how to use this thing. And I don't mean just, get on a browser and everything. I'm talking about you got to learn how to use this. You're going to get into basic IT support or whatever. Like, think about the level of like a power user. Doesn't have to be a professional. It's easier on Linux than it is on Windows. Just think about what he's talking about, deleting things. Because I can tell you, on Linux, you can wipe your entire operating system in one command.
Time, who knows? Total time, anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes. Open terminal, type rm/numrf flash.cache, hit enter, done. 3 seconds. It's gone. Actually gone.
Can you show us?
I'm not talking
no.
Gone until
rm-rf / it's just dev.
Gone.
Yep.
Deleted. Finished. Moving on with your life. But wait, doesn't Linux track your stuff too? Here's the wild part. Modern Linux distros like Ubuntu and Linux Mint have literally zero telemetry by default. None.
You have
And
to
if
enable
some
it
company
optionally.
tried to sneak tracking in, the open source community would absolutely lose it and fork the entire project overnight. That's the power of
It's
open source.
kind of what's happened.
The code is right there. Everyone can see it. No secrets, no hidden agendas.
Mount remembers
Let's keep
using
going,
Unix
because
before
this gets
DOS.
better.
I have a feeling that something like Ubuntu Mint would be easy for.
Can't
Oh, absolutely.
uninstall Edge. Can't fully remove Copilot. OneDrive keeps coming back like a persistent X. Linux. You want Firefox? Install Firefox. You don't want it anymore? Actually delete it. It's gone. Forever. No ghost processes. Updates. Windows. We're updating your computer in 10 minutes whether you like it or not. Linux. Hey, there are updates available. Install them whenever you want. Or
Here's the better example that I give people. It's like, Windows users, I got updates. God damn it, Microsoft! Linux users, oh, I got updates. I'll install it later. Ooh, free software.
We're not your boss. Who's actually in control? Windows. Spoiler alert, it's
Your mom.
Microsoft. Linux, it's actually you. And that AI assistant everyone's talking about takes screenshots of your screen every few seconds. On Linux, there's no AI
Ain't both
babysitter
Ubuntu and Mint
unless
the
you
same operating
specifically
system?
install one. And if you
No.
do, it's open source code.
There's
that you
Ubuntu
control.
and Mint. They share a
This
lot of the
isn't me
same
saying
stuff, but
Linux
no.
is better like it's some kind of sports team rivalry. This is about an operating system that actually respects you as a human being. Okay, I can literally hear you through the screen right now. You've got questions. Let me tackle the big ones. But I can't game on Linux.
Yes, you
You know
can!
this thing? The Steam Deck that literally everyone loves? The one that's been selling out constantly? Yeah.
You know these streams that you've seen me game on? The ones that we haven't done in a long frickin' time? Yeah. We game on Linux.
It runs Linux. Like pure, actual Linux. Linux now supports around 90% of Windows games through this thing called Proton. Most AAA games,
Never seen you
They
game
just
once. It's been a few
you
weeks.
click play, they run. And here's the kicker. A lot of games actually run
I've been
better
tinkering.
on Linux because you don't have
Can Linux
Copilot,
get me soaked?
recall, and fit
Well, there are
services
adult
absolutely
toys that run it.
devouring your RAM while you're trying to play. But Linux is too complicated. I'm not a programmer. Okay, watch this. I'm installing Linux Mint right now while we talk. Click install. Click continue. Continue. Enter your name, pick a password, click install. Done. 10 minutes. That's it. Meanwhile, installing Windows 11 makes you create a Microsoft account, answer 20 questions about privacy invasion, personalization, and sacrifice your firstborn to the update gods. If you
Yep.
can use Windows, you can 100% use Linux.
That's what I
They
keep
look
saying.
almost identical now. But I need Microsoft Office for work. LibreOffice. Free. Opens all your Word docs, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentations.
Okay, this is where I will kind of agree. Linux user here. Don't get me wrong, I like LibreOffice, but I do have Microsoft Office 365. There are certain things it's better at, like Excel. We've talked about this multiple times. Can you open Excel spreadsheets in LibreOffice? Yes, to an extent. There are formatting issues when you open certain Word documents because they have their little formatting things and certain Excel documents. But if we're talking about the basic everyday stuff that most people care about, sure. But I do know the resume I got done by a professional resume crafter will not open right in LibreOffice. It won't even work right in the online version of Office 365. I have to use the desktop version. But you can always install a virtual machine of Windows and do that, or you can run Microsoft Office using Proton or something. Apparently some people do that because they hate themselves.
Looks similar enough that you'll figure it out in like 5 minutes. But my work uses Office 365.
Save money now and everyone can eat. Get money in the daytime, even count it when I sleep. Wake up to getting bread, bitch, I do this for the streets. ADHD. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you for that sub right there. I appreciate you. 11 months. Damn. It's almost been a whole year. And you ain't sick of me yet. Happy hacking, bud. I need a professional resume writer that uses latex. Well, I know a lot of people in the Linux community do like latex, but not that kind.
Is a web app. You
I'm
know
sick,
what runs
but I
web
paid to do
browsers?
stuff.
Linux. Chrome works perfectly on
Something
Linux.
gimp.
Problem solved. You're not losing anything. You're gaining your sanity back. But you know what? This isn't really about specs and benchmarks and which OS can run more programs.
Where's that
It's
video
about
you said you
something
recorded?
way
Oh, I
bigger
got
than
another one. What the
When
hell?
you use Windows 11 programs.
What was
It's
that?
about something way bigger than that. When
Holy
you use
shit, that
Windows
one
11,
image got
you
me off
spend half
guard.
your time fighting your own computer. Why can't I delete this file? Why did Windows re-enable all my privacy settings again? What data is Microsoft collecting right now? Why is my computer
I'll have that
restarting
video
for
edited this
updates when I'm
weekend. I gotta record
literally in the
another
middle
one.
of a video call? You're constantly playing defense, always reacting, never fully in control. But on Linux, you just use your computer. It does what you tell it to do.
What the
It
hell?
doesn't phone home. It doesn't restart without asking. It doesn't re-enable settings you turned off. The OS works for you, not for Microsoft's data collection, not for training their AI.
I'll just start my work
not
machine
for their
for
diagnostic
updates for
telemetry. Check
Yep,
this
that'll
out.
happen.
I'm going to show you what my Linux computer is doing right now on the network. See those? Those are my apps, connecting to places I chose, for reasons I understand and wanted.
Yep.
Now, let me show you Windows 11. What even are all these? What?
I literally have to block the network traffic from all the telemetry on just this Windows box here on my PF Sense. That is a chatty mother.
Are they sending? Why are there so many
Your hot
connections
cocoa
to
is still
Microsoft
warm 10
servers?
hours later.
You know why you'll never get a real answer? Because the code is closed, locked away. You're not allowed to see what your own computer is doing. This is why Linux users laugh. Not because they want to feel superior or smarter than everyone else, but because they stopped fighting this exhausting fight years ago. They use computers that respect them, trust them, work for them, instead of against them. And once you actually experience that, there's no going back.
Nope.
You can't unsee it. So what do you actually do with this information? Look, you don't have to nuke Windows tomorrow. Here's how I'd start. Download Linux Mint. Completely free. Make a bootable...
I don't know if I'd say Linux, it's an option. I would say try it, but give yourself like a dozen distributions to go play with and nuke it. Sorry I got the hiccups. The beautiful thing about Linux is that you can have choice. You can make the computer the way you want it. Maybe you like Zorant. Maybe you like Linux Mint. Maybe you like straight Ubuntu. I like Pop OS. Maybe you'll like Fedora. Maybe you'll like Bazite. Maybe you'll like Garuda. Maybe you'll like Catchy OS. Maybe you'll like... There's a lot of choices, is what I'm saying.
USB stick. There are tons of tutorials. It's super easy. Here's the crazy part. You can try Linux without installing it. It runs straight
and
off
I got
the
my
USB.
drawing tablet working.
You can
Nice.
click around, test your game, see how it feels. No commitment, no risk. Your Windows installation sits there, completely untouched.
Okay, it was not for me.
Windows
yeah, I
10
used it a
support
few years
officially
ago.
ended October 14, 2025. Microsoft wants you to throw out your perfectly good computer and buy new hardware just to run Windows 11. Or you could install Linux on your current PC for free, and it'll probably run better than Windows ever did.
What the hell?
Here's my challenge to you. Try Linux Mint this week. Just once. Throw it on a USB, boot it up, click around for 20 minutes. You don't have to decide anything today. Just see how it feels to use a computer that isn't actively fighting you. Because
It
here's
is a
what
nice
Linux
feeling.
users figured out a long time ago. The best antivirus? Not Windows Defender. The best privacy tool? Not even a VPN. The best way to actually take control of your computer? Use an operating...
I just want to say, it is beautiful to actually hear someone understand that a VPN is not what's going to make you private. It's what you do on the internet, how you access the internet. It's all about behaviors on the internet. I just want to call that out.
system.
Oh yeah, these edits are great.
Control you in the first place.
This guy is definitely getting a sub for me.
If you're actually going to try this. And hey, if you've got concerns, what about this program or will this work? Drop those two. I'll answer every single one. Look, I've spent weeks fighting with Windows just to get basic privacy. I'm exhausted. Maybe it's time we all just stop fighting. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see what's actually...
I'm just going to leave a comment. Over a decade. Also, check out Pop OS. Or Bazite. Or Catchy OS. Or Fedora. It's all about choice. What's the video called? It's by SysHack. Windows 11 just crossed the line. Here's why Linux users are laughing. Maybe it's the risk side speaking, but his statement of 0% risk on Linux is false, though. I think he's talking in terms of you can boot it from a flash drive. He's talking about the live USB side of it. But yeah, I do think there is 0% risk when it comes to, you know, trying out something with live USB. You can boot it off the flash drive and never write it to disk. And then if you decide to commit, you're good. In that case, yes, there is no risk. But I do agree with your GRC side of the brain. Okay. All right. How AI is killing the value of a college degree.
On May 16th, 2025, I woke up and was ready to get into my graduation gown for the day of celebration of Villanova's graduation ceremony.
Okay.
My family and friends came from pretty much across the country to see me walk across the stage and receive my diploma.
Michael, Sean, Matthias.
Yeah, Michael!
Oh, AI is totally killing critical thinking.
To finally have
because there's a lot of people that are not learning how to think. I use it as a tool rather than a crutch.
I'm super excited to apply those skills to the job market, to an employer, and finally be an independent adult. Flash forward,
I'm a real boy.
Into the job search. It's been a little demoralizing. The job market has been very tough, especially for the new grads. I have been on my job search since November 2024. I've been applying anywhere and everywhere, and it has been a little difficult to even get to the initial interviews that I want to get to.
Oh yeah, I'm having the same problem as a professional.
I mean, it's really difficult. It's really difficult for people who have many years of experience, so it's going to be difficult for college kids.
Oh yeah.
The rise of youth unemployment is worrisome. For the individual worker, we can see that graduating in a recession leaves long-lasting...
Hey, I think we found a job opportunity. If his job is, if his voice is making you sleep, he should do ASMR videos.
They're having a hard time. That means that the economy could have a hard time.
For the broader economy, these youth workers might be early indicators that the overall economy is slowing down or maybe even heading towards a recession.
For the first time in
he is German.
History,
why not 4X?
Is no longer
because I do not want to have Alvin and the Chipmunks. Scrolled the Bird app because always know what the left hand is doing. People on there are way too reliant on the branded bot on there. Ah.
If you look at the overall labor market, it's still doing strong.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Rates in general are still fairly low. But then when you zoom in on the young workers, they seem to be struggling.
The unemployment rate among young U.S. workers aged 16 to 24 stood at 10.4% in September. It's generally been trending upward since April 2023, when it dipped to the lowest point since the pandemic.
And in particular, there's been a worrisome rise in unemployment rates among recent college graduates. Usually we think of those as being some of the safest workers in our economy, but that pattern seems to be flipping right now.
I think that is because two factors. One,
branded bot, is this real?
Supply of workers with a bachelor degree is increasing, but at the same time, partly because of AI, the demand for workers with a bachelor degree is not increasing anymore. So we have a glut of people with a bachelor degree. Their wage growth is growing more slowly, and with AI continuing to automate more and more jobs, I expect that the trend to continue.
Artificial intelligence has allowed some corporate giants to hire fewer workers, and some have even begun shrinking their workforces as they integrate more automation. Goldman Sachs says it could displace 6 to 7% of the U.S. workforce over the next decade.
Yeah, I can see that.
Are feeling AI's impact the most. A Stanford study finds that since 2022, unemployment for 22 to 25-year-olds in highly AI-exposed jobs has dropped 13%.
3 DBs in a trench coat.
Those in less exposed roles remain steady or growing.
Okay, so I actually call LLM, because it's not AI. LLM is not an AI. I know that's the buzzword, but it's not an AI. I call it an overconfident junior developer. People treat it like a senior developer, but you got to treat it like a junior developer that you got to keep smacking on the head because it's making dumb decisions. But yeah, it's basically overconfident autocomplete.
I think AI and machine learning is absolutely taking...
I work in a position that you quite literally cannot automate.
Graduates like myself. From a business standpoint,
as a junior dev.
sense you get something that can produce results.
Why are they talking so slow? Because it's from CNBC.
Employers for making those steps, in my mind, the right direction to save money, cut costs. But it's a little frustrating from my standpoint because I'm looking for a full-time career somewhere to really put my skills to work.
Especially for larger corporations that are trying to go through AI transformation. Some of it could be tied to AI from a perspective of they're trying to let go of people in other departments so that they can invest more in AI. But at the same time, I think what's also happening is the AI systems that can write code, especially at junior level, has gotten really good. And because of that, we are already seeing, especially in tech companies, there's the need for a number of junior engineers has gotten lower.
The Federal Reserve has also taken notice.
You see a significant number of companies either announcing that they are...
To be fair, what autocomplete isn't overconfident? No, I don't mean...
Much of the time they're talking about AI and what it can do. So we're watching that very carefully.
But there is another element here, which is more and more young people are going to college, and at a much higher rate than the baby boomers who are now retiring. So what's happening is that the workforce is becoming more and more educated over time. And perhaps to the degree that we have a glut of college grads,
AI might be having a little bit of an
I will say this.
Right now, what's really driving a lot of this...
A lot of people going to college are getting degrees in things that aren't worthwhile. And no, I'm not just talking about the arts and stuff like that.
Employed or whether you're trying to get in the labor market for the first time, right now...
There's a ton of people getting business degrees that have no right being in business.
Years ago, many companies, especially tech firms, went on a hiring spree during the pandemic era.
Needs to be the speed for
example,
boomers, yep.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, Amazon's workforce ballooned.
It needs to be this slow for boomers because you have to speak really slow for them to understand why we are so effed. Because they're not smart enough to realize how they effed up our generation.
1.6 million employees globally in 2021. By 2024, the count had shrunk to 1.5 million, and 2025 is no stranger to layoffs.
Amazon saying this morning it's going to lay off about 14,000 corporate employees as it restructures for the AI era, marking the latest move in a multi-year effort to streamline operations and shift resources toward its biggest bets, including generative AI.
Experts are divided on whether COVID-19 hiring sprees are behind the current layoffs.
Overhiring they did in the COVID era when they didn't actually need to.
You need to get through the lead poisoning first, yeah.
So correlation doesn't imply causation. Like, it's not because of AI.
I was stoked my colleague's daughter was going into pharmacy studies only to switch to business because money.
All business owners are able to take advantage of
It's a dumb idea because...
We should probably not use this.
It is a dumb idea to, like, why is that, like, normal speed? I know! But it is a dumb idea to go into business school because the reality is, there was an article Yitz showed me where a guy basically had an AI act as his entire board. Like, he had it as the CFO, and all the little pieces you need. He made a startup company where all the parts can be automated. And to be honest, the majority of management, the majority of business positions are merely knowing how to operate numbers, do accounting, and, schedule things out and, set priority. Management is one of the biggest victims, in my honest opinion, of automation and LLMs, because here's the thing. Those who can't manage. Because think about the average person that's actually doing coding, and how many different managers are out there that you could actually just basically throw interchangeably with each other. But not all coders can do the same thing.
Argument much anymore. It's
victim.
been a long time. I think if there was overhire,
My degree got classified as a BBA, and I'm still slightly annoyed.
25, I think it's no longer a big impact. But I would say that the period of strong labor shortages that we had in 21, 22, 23, I think it forced companies.
Why couldn't it be a BBL, Jessica?
Not taking AI out of the story here. It just forced companies with a severe labor shortage to learn how to do things with fewer people, and that may be another factor.
CEO as a service, yes!
Market conditions now.
Not only are young workers finding it difficult to enter the job market, but the young professionals...
Isn't there a government that has an LLM as a member of parliament? Maybe.
That between January 2023 and July 2025, the number of young workers at large public technology
because I didn't want a fat ass.
Private technology companies also saw a decline.
The impact.
You know how you get a fat ass? You work in management.
You start playing this out. Over
Sit on your fat ass.
If these workers have a hard time getting into jobs now, that impacts spending, right? That impacts them going out, buying things. That also impacts like their earning capabilities, money going into taxes, which ultimately impacts government spending as well, right? And so you start to add these things.
Okay, seriously, why did I have to speed this up to like make it normal?
Income inequality.
Economic inequality in the U.S. is getting worse. The new Oxfam report shows that between 1989 and 2022, the top 1% gained about 101 times more wealth than the
Good God!
We will see a much higher inequality. It's a problem.
Wasn't there like historically a CEO only made like 30 times more than their worker?
I think what will eventually happen is that there will be growing demand for income redistribution.
Butts and seats equals BBL.
Especially among
remember hearing that the LLM had 38 kids as an A for all the other
economy
MPs?
And political climate that could have some implications for general
standing desk. No flat chair, but
how do we make sure that we're taking care of this right now, because it could have big spending, big economic implications.
I got them squats.
The job market is challenging for young workers as many entry-level positions, a launch pad for new graduates, are disappearing. At the same time,
my CEO is a billionaire, and I've got used car debt.
Reports that employers are increasingly seeking entry-level hires who are fluent in AI.
We're actually seeing from companies is an increase in desire for early talent to have AI skills. So we've actually seen a 5x increase in our job postings since 2023 that list AI skills as part of the job requirements or qualifications. And even on internships, it's been a 4x increase in that same amount of time.
That's ridiculous.
So employers are interested in early talent that is familiar and comfortable using AI. They do expect that early talent will be able to use AI in their functional roles, and that they will know how to balance both their expertise and knowledge as well as...
Okay, you know what? It's, really not surprising at all. I remember back when ChatGPT 3.5 came out, and that was when it was like really taking off. I got into arguments with some of my friends, particularly the artists. One of my best friends, love her, don't get me wrong. I got into this, friendly argument with her where I said, look, I don't care what your philosophical stands on, LLM, how it's trained and all that. The reality is the cat's out of the bag. And this was 2023. I said, in the next few years, the big difference is going to be between those who can use AI and LLM tools to make them more efficient at their job, and those who can't are not going to be able to get a job. And here we are, right now. If you don't know how to use the AI in Figma, Photoshop, you can't even do creative design work. And a lot of the work I do, I'm using Amazon Q at work. I'm using GitHub Copilot Plus here in my own home lab for a lot of my projects. But that doesn't replace you knowing what needs to be done. It can't think for you. But yeah.
And efficiency.
I think especially
going through the process of a job interview for a startup, and surprisingly, LLMs AI hasn't come up yet. It will.
So learning how to use the tools will make them stand out.
Pay the list of artists that you robbed was hidden in someone's desk.
GenAI systems if needed, where some GenAI systems are good.
Yeah, but the reality is that's not going to happen.
Having that literacy to be able to do different tasks.
My team is using them to help draft documentation, but it's scrutinized to high heaven before finalized. Agreed. I scrutinize the code that I'm working through.
embracing AI for all of the places that it can help. And what it doesn't replace is really smart.
I think it's Dr. Bronner's. There's a 5-to-1 max difference between the highest and lowest salary. I need more of that. Oh yeah, absolutely.
The importance of networking in navigating the job market.
First and foremost,
like there's no reason why Elon Musk got $1 trillion payout. Like even when you make $1 billion, that's more money than you can reasonably spend in a lifetime.
On that, because the number one thing you can do to
especially when you calculate interest,
to have someone who remembers you, who had a good experience working with you as an intern, and who wants to see you succeed.
Yep.
I don't ever want to undervalue or underestimate the power of those personal connections.
Yep.
I have a lot
like I said, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Job market. I'm a little bit of an optimist in that sense. I think
I like Dr. Bronner's.
Strong people, and I think
except the
time for those
the peppermint one.
Ultimately, those new graduates are going to become strong.
My God,
I think they will not.
You wash your nether regions with Dr. Bronner's with the peppermint. Oh, you gonna feel fresh down there. But yeah, boomers, your media, could you move a little faster? All right, let's see. Yeah, we got time for one more video at least. Mentos the Fresh Maker. Okay, but is Elmo going to actually get that trillion? He has goals that he has to hit, and I don't think they're reasonable. I don't think he's going to be able to reasonably hit them. The reason why is I think it's like he has to sell the total amount of cars that were made by in the USA right now. Like he has to sell a bunch of Tesla cars when nobody wants to buy a Tesla and stuff like that. Like he's kind of screwed himself. I see the productivity salary graph. I heard peppermint. Yeah, we're talking about peppermint Dr. Bronner's. Okay, so we got, what is this? I make all my videos using Linux. This is how. So I kind of wanted to watch this with y'all because I, make my videos on Linux and I wanted to maybe take notes. Maybe y'all are interested too.
Day, I get comments saying that I must be using a Mac or a Windows PC to make these videos. Now, there's nothing wrong with folks using the tools that they like, and I use Linux because it's what I like.
Oh, I use Kdenlive too.
Editing using Kdenlive, my footage
same.
capture using OBS,
Same.
and my thumbnails using Inkscape.
Okay, I use Canva.
And today, I'll show you how I do it.
It was 10 minutes, vampire.
Greetings and welcome to another workflow-tastic episode of Veronica Explains. I'm Veronica, and I just rebased my editing rig onto
On
Debian
Veronica Explains, I'd hope he'd be
in
Veronica.
anticipation of the next
She comes out and says, "My name's Jim."
That means I'm reinstalling everything, so I figured right now would be a great time
is Denver
to walk through
International
my
Airport.
setup
Oh, yeah, that
and
makes
general workflow for creating videos using Linux.
I want to know how she makes the visuals, though.
Kdenlive, or is it KDEN Live?
I use them interchangeable.
Video editor, and I've been using it since the very first episode of Veronica Explains. It's a free and open source video editor, which is brought to us by the KDE project, and uses the open source MLT framework to make these videos
I've been liking it.
Fantastic.
I've not really had any issues with it.
Kdenlive is a nonlinear video editor, which nowadays is the primary way videographers edit videos. We import all of the clips for a video into a project and then reassemble them into a final sequence, which we then render or merge down into a single new video file. And for that very basic usage, blending multiple video files together.
By the way, here's a little hack if you ever do a YouTube video. So YouTube will compress the video to AVC1 by default and then upscale it to VP9. If you saw one of my videos recently, it got thrown through the pixel soup because it didn't work that well. So I found out to initiate VP9, you have to have higher end video. So it can't just be 1080p. But if you make it 1152p or higher, 1152p will then scale it to 1080p, but VP9 encoding on YouTube. Keep that in mind if you ever need it.
and then cutting them into an artistic order.
Veronica's having an identity
for me
crisis.
at least, has always been more than up to the task.
Most of the time, it was way more than 10.
In addition to merging video files, I typically record a separate audio track while the camera is rolling, recorded using Ardor or Audacity.
Oh!
I line the video files up with that
Never thought about that.
which Kdenlive makes simple with an Align Audio to Reference option.
I didn't even know it had that.
Basically, the camera records horrible sounding audio like this, but the peaks and valleys line up with the peaks and valleys from this fancy microphone. And Kdenlive can automatically line up those two tracks.
See, I just take the camera into the capture card with the Shure SM7B over here and then record it into OBS. Granted, I use the Windows PC that does all the streaming to do the initial recording, but that process could work also on Linux. The only reason I use Windows is because Elgato, well, specifically the Elgato teleprompter. I could probably get the key lights and the stream decks to work over there. But the Rodecaster, it goes to Linux and Windows at the same time. The camera totally could work on Linux with the capture card. But yeah.
Then I just delete the
I never thought about
camera
that.
audio from the timeline.
That's good
and
to know,
group the
though.
video and nice audio together. Then I excise the unnecessary attempts at alliteration, as well as the awkward silence while I wait for the teleprompter to get to where I need to read next.
Okay, that's why I use the Elgato teleprompter over here.
After editing all of that down, it's time to add overlay elements. Now, this typically comes in the form of still screenshots,
So I do use the
additional
NVIDIA
video
RTX
footage,
on that
or
teleprompter.
transparent title clips, like this little guy up here. Kdenlive's title editor is good, but could be better. I'd very much like the ability to create groups of layers inside this title window, so I could easily lay out and manage changes across groups inside a title.
I gotta play with it more.
Speaking of downsides, one of Kdenlive's biggest drawbacks as an editor is that it doesn't yet have GPU rendering, which
it does. It's just experimental, but I use it all the time. It works fine with an NVIDIA GPU, and I've done it with an AMD APU. They both work fine. They both end up with the same result. I export my videos in H.264. Yes, you can do 265, but YouTube generally likes 264 better for that transcoding to VP9, as we discussed.
I'm not going to complain about because this is free and open source software. And if I expect that functionality, I should build it myself or I should pay someone else to do it. The lack of hardware acceleration across a lot of Kdenlive has some obvious drawbacks, but I've mitigated a fair amount of that using proxy clips. Basically an option which pre-renders my 4K video files into smaller formats for the edit. Kdenlive is smart enough to reference the original files in the final render, and that makes life a lot easier. Lately, I've been trying my hand at editing captions inside Kdenlive as well. Kdenlive can use the Vosk or Whisper models for speech-to-text, but there's a lot it gets wrong, particularly tech jargon, which it'll frequently misspell or use bad punctuation, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I've used it. It works okay.
I've used these speech-to-text,
but it saves me a lot of time.
I still have to go through and clean things up quite a bit, which is worth doing because good captions not only help folks more easily digest your video,
I've been slacking on that
they
lately.
also might help get it in front of more eyes, thanks to the transcript being scraped for keywords. As far as how I get Kdenlive,
I didn't even think about
I typically
that.
just install the FlatHub version, which is nice because it updates way more frequently than the native version here on Debian.
I use the app image,
I've also used the app image a few times just for testing, and it worked fine. In fact, over the years I've used Kdenlive, it's only gotten better and better.
I agree with
I'm
that.
a proud sponsor of the project, and your support has helped me send the money over the years. So hey, that's nice. Open Broadcaster Software Studio, or OBS Studio for short, or OBS for shorter, is the free and open source video capture and live streaming software that so much of this industry uses that it almost feels like I don't have to mention it. If you've ever watched someone on a live stream, chances are pretty good that their software was either OBS or was based on OBS. OBS uses a canvas-based workflow in which you lay out your video sources independently in the window. Those video sources can be from a webcam, or in my case, a capture card, which accepts HDMI video and makes it available like a webcam.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting a Blackmagic card myself.
Your own computer screen as a video source, which I use pretty frequently to capture virtual machines or web browser windows. You can also add audio sources, like this fancy microphone over here, and add some rudimentary effects processing to the audio. Echo! My typical workflow for screen capture involves plugging the HDMI from a mini PC or laptop into a capture card. That's also how I get vintage computing footage captures for the channel, including the outro, where I use a Commodore 64 to shout out the $10
I have an HDMI here just for when I tinker.
Ko-fi. For vintage computer video capture, I'm typically either modding the vintage computer with RGB to HDMI or using my trusty RetroTink 5X.
Interesting.
That gets me clean HDMI, which I can easily connect right into the capture card. Now, as far as hardware acceleration goes, OBS has pretty great support on Linux, and I've had no trouble at all getting it to work well on Debian, and before that, Pop! OS. That said, I have to use the native version of OBS that's in the repo, because the FlatHub version doesn't ship support for Blackmagic's DeckLink capture devices. I've spent hours putzing with that to no avail, so if you have a solution to getting DeckLink to work on the FlatHub OBS, leave me a comment.
You basically have to repackage it.
Do a thumbnail face. I've used lots of graphics packages over the years, but lately I've been all over Inkscape for thumbnails. A lot of this is because we're using Inkscape for the graphics that we produce for the merch store, but also because Inkscape is getting better and better.
I haven't really used it much.
Tireless work of the developers. Developers like Martin Owens, who you should totally support on Patreon if you want a better Inkscape. Now, I'm far from a visual arts expert, so my thumbnail process is pretty simple. I typically take a still of me from the video and export it from Kdenlive as a PNG. Then I lay it out size-wise in Inkscape and add my text over the top. By the way, since folks keep asking, this font is Futura and my terminal font is Iosevka. If I want to cut myself out of the thumbnail, I draw a path around me and then set a clip to that path.
Oh.
I usually duplicate the path before I clip it, so that way I can make a pretty outline of my thumbnail face. Everyone loves that. What I've always liked about Inkscape
for my upcoming thumbnails.
Is so much easier in a vector graphics program than a raster editor, and I can really quickly get the text to look exactly the way I want it to. The FlatHub version of Inkscape has worked just fine for my thumbnail needs for a while now.
Not GIMP.
But now, what about the hardware that I use?
I tried using GIMP, it was too much. Too much effort. That's why I used Canva.
This is Heart of Glass, my main editing rig for all of the last year.
System 76.
Which I paid for with my own money. And in case you're curious, here's a fast fetch full of specs for you.
I think it's a System 76.
Now, I crammed all of this into
it's a Fractal Design King. Okay.
Case, which is okay to work
I thought it looked like a Thelio, but I was wrong.
I mainly just picked it because it was available, and it doesn't look terrible here at my editing desk. I mentioned before
I like
that I'm
fractal
running
cases.
Debian on this rig,
I
which I just rebased to Trixie after running SID for a while. Trixie's about to go stable, and I think I'm going to quit tracking SID on my boring editing desktop for a bit. If I want excitement, that's what one of my laptops are for. Now, I perpetually bop between
It's
GNOME.
a nice looking case.
Yes, that's a proper pronunciation.
Everyone argues with me, but it is GNOME.
And Sway, because I'm a YouTuber and I'm very easily distracted by shiny new sources of content. My capture hardware is a pair of Blackmagic PCIe 4K capture cards, which work fine via Blackmagic's proprietary DeckLink drivers. Now, I don't love that I need proprietary drivers for these cards, but I honestly couldn't find better alternatives in my price range that support Linux out of the box.
Yeah.
USB capture cards that work in 4K have been hit or miss in my opinion, but I still keep an Elgato Camlink 4K around, as it's been the most reliable for me here on Linux.
They do work
If someone
pretty well
was
on
starting
Linux.
a channel and wanted a capture device, it's probably what I'd recommend. My audio interface is
I
the
have a
same
couple of those.
PreSonus audio box something or other that I've used for at least a decade now for making music. It's fine, but I feel like the preamps are getting a little bit noisy, and I might replace this with something with a bit more oomph in the near future. And because I record music as well,
I actually have been liking my Rodecaster Pro 2. It's really great. It has native Linux support. You can have 2 USB inputs for 2 different devices. They have a couple other models that are lower end that are perfect. One actually even has a video capture built in. I don't know how it works on Linux, but yeah.
I made the switch to Pipewire years ago.
I love
I feel
Pipewire.
like learning Pipewire made the switch to Wayland a little simpler too. Lately, it's been no trouble at all.
Y'all have
doing
seen my
screen
custom
sharing
scripts I had to do
capture
for
on
Pipewire.
Wayland. But for a while, that was a bit of a thing. As far as the cameras are
I have a
concerned,
Camlink and an
I'm
Amazon
using
version
this
that's only
trio of
$10.
Panasonic Lumix
Both
cameras.
work the same.
The GH5 over here has synchro shutter, or whatever they call it, which allows me to dial in the shutter speed, which makes it ideal for capturing CRT screens like my terminal.
Oh, that's good to
or
know.
a Macintosh or an Apple II
I unfortunately don't have
or
CRTs
whatever old
anymore.
computer I feel like recording today.
Lost them in a flood.
I typically leave a camera behind the teleprompter, have one above my monitor for streaming, and have a third for B-roll, which is an outdated term for additional footage that we YouTubers use because it makes us feel special. Now, these cameras
I'm not
get
special enough for
pricey, and
B-roll.
I always try to buy them on the used market in order to save a few bucks. But I've always
probably
been a
consider
sucker
that.
for swapping lenses and trying new creative shots in my videos.
Wait, I got a Lumix
Now,
around
I know
here
a lot
somewhere.
of folks don't consider YouTube art, but I do. And these cameras are my tools, and they're just fine for me. Let me know with a comment if you want to see a detailed video or a blog post on any of the
I got another
software
camera around
or
here somewhere I gotta
hardware
find.
that I outlined here. I know it can be tough to imagine a Linux-based workflow for video editing.
It works really great.
I know it's not for everyone.
My mom says I'm special.
I've said it
My mom says I'm
before,
special in a
and
short
I'll
bus
say
kind of
it
way.
again. I don't make these videos because I think badly of folks who use Windows or a Mac. I think
do.
you should use
kidding,
what you
I'm
like
kidding.
to use. And I care more about what you build than how you're building it. But at the same time, I see comment after comment after comment saying Linux just isn't up to the task for creating media. And I'm here to tell you, with decades of experience under my belt, that you can absolutely get the job done on Linux.
You can even run
Because
DaVinci
Linux
Resolve.
is awesome. And so are you.
That was pretty informative. My new boss is an Apple fan. He makes sure everyone knows it. So basically, the thing about Apple users, and I'm allowed to say this because I'm a rehabilitated one. I literally keep this Mac here just to remind people I'm not an Apple hater. I'm a scorned Apple user. The thing about Apple users is that they have no personality, so Apple becomes their personality. They accuse Linux people of making Linux their entire personality, but Linux people tend to be the kind that's like, oh, I do all these other things, and I use Linux. Apple users, genuinely, the majority of the times, the most interesting thing about them is that they use a Mac computer. And that we know that they spent their entire, overpriced... They spent way too much money on their hardware. And then, it's always fun ripping on Mac users, because then you get them to realize that you actually have a computer do 10 times as much as what they do for 1/10 the cost. You know I'm right. Apple users are like that. Use Arch, by the way. Okay, Arch users are the CrossFit vegans of Linux. We've been over this, Abby, okay? But yeah, absolutely, like, you can totally do creative work on Linux. I actually am thinking about getting some Blackmagic cards myself, but what I'll probably need to do before I do that is, I need to rethink my board layout, because I do want to get a bigger motherboard to get more, well, so the Blackmagic capture card that I was looking at, I can show you this, Blackmagic capture card. See, I want to get at least a dual, or preferably a tri or quad, HDMI capture card. So, hold on. Where? Okay, B&H photo. Okay. B&H. You know what's funny about B&H? People don't know. Do you know why it's called B&H? You'll laugh if you actually learn. Well, once I explain to you. It's called B&H because it's literally Baruch Hashem. It's run by Orthodox Jews. So they have some really nice capture cards, by the way, if you can't tell. This is the capture card I want. Baruch Hashem. Thank God. Or bless God, technically. Baruch Hashem. That's what it's for. It's even confirmed with me. That's why I always joked with it. I used to call it B&H because it's Baruch Hashem. I can get a good deal. But no, apparently that's the story. But yeah, this is the capture card I want to get. And eventually I will upgrade to it. Because it's a quad port. Hold on. Why can't you work with dark mode? But yeah, it'll work with Linux with their proprietary drivers. Quad HDMI. Up to 4K 30. That'd be the perfect capture card for me. I could input the video from the camera, have another HDMI for a device, bring the video in from the stream PC, and have another camera on top of it, or whatever I want to do. Mazel tov. Yep. But yeah, this is what I eventually want to get. I'm hoping to get that next year after I get an NVIDIA 5070 Ti over here. And then I will mothball my Elgato external capture card and the AverMedia capture card. Because I have a AverMedia Gamer Duo, which has 2 inputs. And then I have an Elgato capture card for the camera over there. And then that'll get me one step closer to using Linux in the workflow. Then I have a Stream Deck Mini I need to start playing with. So that way I can get it, try using it on Linux. So that way I can see if I can get the workflow. If I can do scene changes and all that on Linux, I'll be good. I gotta just get scene changes, audio controls, and sound effects to work on Linux. Can explain mothball? Basically, it's a term we use to what's the word? Deprecate. Basically, I would take the hardware out of circulation and then I would actually store it away so that if I ever need it again, I have a backup. I'll probably use them again in the future, but I just would rather start moving completely to a full Linux workflow. There's really nothing I really need Windows for, other than the Elgato teleprompter and the key lights and the Stream Deck. That's really the only thing. That's it. Because TikTok, I do the streaming through an OBS key. I use OBS for all of that stuff. I have all my theme. Wait, I do have StreamBot. There is some stuff I would actually still need. Because StreamerBot that I use for the receipt printer and all that, that's on Linux. Although, I could run a Windows VM. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I got the network version of this. Hold on. Yeah, this has an Ethernet port. I could network the printer. I'm just thinking out loud. But, yeah, there's the possibility that I could totally switch to a full Linux workflow if I figure just a couple of things out. And the ham PC is going to be running in Linux, too. Once I get around to that. I have so many projects I need to finish before I even get to the full moving to Linux, because I have to finish up the SIEM server. You know, for those of you that... Those are my ribs. This is the logging server I'm putting together. It's a Purism Libre Mini I had laying around, so I'm finally putting it to good use. It is a little bit warm, though. I've been doing a ping test this entire time. That's funny. And also, I think my network tweaking and everything may have fixed some of my occasional stream quality issues. Nice. Make your own stream bot. I already do, but the printer thing is a whole other level of complexity. Because I have to deal with, like, system drivers and system calls, and I don't know that level of things yet. But yeah. Hold on, I'll show you what I got so far on the Linux box over here. Curious. Oh, yeah. So that little, Purism device, it's got an 8-core Intel Core i7. No, it's not an 8-core. It's a quad-core with hyper-threading. It's a Core i7 10510U, 32 gigs of RAM, and a 2TB NVMe. So I have it running OpenSearch and Logstash with Grafana. I'm going to be adding Graylog to it, and it's got 2 influx databases for me to monitor my entire network. So I can do stuff like... Yeah, Abby, if you want to make a streamer bot thing, be my guest. That's just not my cup of tea. But essentially what I need it to do is, listen to, Kick, Twitch, and YouTube calls for when certain events happen, and then print out events like this. Grab their avatar, put on the thing, the message they put on, all that. That's the big thing. Nutty's the one that actually made this project. I wish that more streamers would open source their projects, because he didn't really open source it. He just has it open, like, free. I really wish that more creators would understand the value of open source. That's why I open source all my stuff. I literally say, hey, look, I made this work on, this platform. There you go. So, this is it. Monitoring my, Wait, is that the wrong one? Or did my, network stack just kind of... No, that's the old one. Hold on. I made another dashboard because I had to change something up. Yeah, there we go. That's the right one. I had to change the indexes and stuff like that. I've had to learn way too much about logging data that I have so much respect for people that work in observability of engineering that I could never do this as a day job. But yeah, so this is the, this is running off of this guy over here. So the pfSense firewall is sending all the intrusion detection and intrusion prevention stuff over to here. So here, I'll just move over there. So that's the amount of events that it's seen in the last 24 hours. I'll zoom in so you can see. So you can see, like, in the past hour, these are all the events that have happened. You can see the percentage of UDP to TCP traffic, what's DNS, TLS, quick, HTTP, DHCP, file info. These are all the local area networks, as well as IX1 and IX0 are the, what you call it? Okay, some of the math is wrong here. I'm gonna have to figure that out. Because I think it's looking at ingest, not, egress. Yeah, because if you look at IX0 for the past 3 hours, that's the bigger chunk. That's the main interface. And then we go back, scroll down. And then you can see the intrusion detection and prevention system in action. So you can actually see it's blocking certain things in line before it even hits the network. I mean, it's hitting the firewall, but it gets stopped. And you can actually see, like, the attack sources over here. So I can actually see where they're coming from. Get an idea of their information. You can see, like, percentage-wise where these source of different hits are coming from. So obviously the US is number 1. The UK is apparently number 2. Germany. Is that Malaysia? Netherlands. And wherever these are. And you can actually break down what the alert was triggered. See, I actually have an IOC. Or I guess it's an IOC. Would it be an IOA? IOC. For Telegram. So, yeah. That is the big thing I've been working on this week was that stupid dashboard. And it took so much freaking engineering. But yeah, and then on top of it, I got the several dashboards for Unify. And when it's all done, I'll have a YouTube video going over the entire thing. There's a lot that went into this project. But, yeah. And hope everyone has plans for Turkey Day. Besides getting a food coma. Because I know I am tomorrow. Speaking of which, I probably will be doing a stream maybe Thursday night. Turkey coma pending. And maybe Friday night as well. Because I got some extra time. I do have to record some content. Well, I recorded one video, I have to edit it. I have to record some other videos. I have to record that video on all the open source little bot projects I've done, because it's a sponsored video. Because once I get that, then I get, money for hardware to do other content. But yeah, it should be a great time and everything. But, I didn't see any stream quality issues yet. Yeah, I am hoping the network tweaks and optimizations and stuff that I did remediated all that, because I did that's why I was an hour late to the stream, was I had to do a major overhaul on a bunch of stuff. We got IDS IPS working inline. So it's not doing it in the legacy mode anymore. I cleaned out the PF blocker NG lists. So I have like a good block list and everything set up. Actually, I'm going to have all this, because I had a bunch of people asking me, hey, what things should I do for PF Sense and everything? So right now, it's not in the main branch yet. There's going to be this repo here. It's called PF Sense Grafana, but that name's probably going to change. But in the overhaul, I have a whole bunch of things. Originally, this was supposed to be just the Grafana dashboards. Well, it's turned into a whole bunch more. So, of course, you have the dashboards and stuff here. But, wait, no. It's not that folder. Is it this folder? No, not that folder. Is it this folder? I gotta organize this better, I know. I gotta clean out a bunch of the documentation and all that. We got... Yeah, you see this? This is how I name my stuff. More shit fixed. Lots of more shit fixed. Whole lot of changes. Not ready, just stashing. I'm very descriptive with my code. Bits over here. Hold on. Was this, though? Filter log rotation. Was this it? Oh yeah, this is it. So this was the Suricata rules that I've been using. Tuning, log management, IDS, IPS, a whole lot of stuff in here to hopefully help out a bunch of new people. That's better than a lot of professional shit I see. So what, they just say, this shit. Is pfSense generally better than OpenSense? OpenSense does release Windows faster, but pfSense has more bells and whistles, that there's still a lot of enterprises using it. I've used OpenSense here and there, but I keep going back to pfSense. Maybe one day I'll fully switch over if they have all the bells and whistles I like, but for now, no. I originally forked this off another project, so there's some modifications here to get Telegraph with pfSense to send over the temperature information. Why do I got the hiccups? There's a whole bunch of Python scripts and stuff. I gotta work on a installer. I even made my own watchdog script over here for pfSense because what ended up happening was Telegraph and I made a Python forwarder that grabs the logs from Suricata and pushes it to OpenSearch and Logstash. And they kept hanging every now and then. So I made cron jobs and to have watchdogs to basically check to see if it's stalled, if it's hanging, if it's, you know, all that, and then restart the process to make sure the logs were more reliable. There was a lot of systems I had to work around. See, like the Suricata restart hook. I have learned so freaking much about how pfSense is operated. I have learned way too much about XML and other shit that I never want to do after I finish this project, or in my other workday. Oh yeah, I have this list over here. People were always asking, like, what things should you whitelist it inside of PF Blocker NG? So I made this big ass list, and I even went around adding a bunch of different banks for people, just so that they don't run into issues. Not that you need to, but it's just good to, like, whitelist the, you don't run into issues. And I went around and I found the most popular credit unions and banks in each state and in several big countries. There's a whole optimization guide here for, the block list that I recommend for PF Blocker NG. So you've got lists. It'll even tell you which feeds to pull up from PF Blocker NG, the list action, update frequencies, which interface, of course, you want it on WAN. So, yeah, you can even set up ad blocking and all that in here. Threat intelligence feeds. I am not anywhere near done with this. I still have a lot more. I have to make the dashboard for the LAN side of IDS IPS. I have to make the Prometheus agents to be able to monitor my individual devices. I have to set up Wazza on this device. I have to set up Graylog on the logging sim. So ultimately, this little guy over here, it currently has nut. It's busting a nut, which it's network UPS tools. So basically, the UPS that I have in the network rack, it's set up to listen to that. So whenever that, it's the NAS is the Synology NAS is acting as the server. Any device that's set up as a NUT client to listen to that server can then all benefit from the UPS capabilities, so that they can all start safely shutting down whenever that happens. So this guy is going to be the logging and SIEM server. So it's got Grafana, it's got InfluxDB, 2 InfluxDB databases, actually. The Telegraph one for the pfSense system stats, and then another one for Unify information. So I got all the information from every single client that's connecting to my Unify switches and access points, all the information for the switches down to how much power they're putting out, the temperature of the switch, the CPU, the RAM load, like every single metric you could think about, it's pulling in. And then this will also be running the Prometheus server to grab the metrics from all the different individual devices in the house. So as I say use more load on an NVIDIA GPU, I can then get more information. As I build the LLM, I'll get more information set up there. So basically, I can log into this and I can get the Eye of Sauron to see the entire network with Grafana and everything else. Greylog will be able to hook into the OpenSearch database with the IDS IPS side, and hopefully PF Blocker NG, I'll figure out how to do that, so that way I can do in-depth, log exploration. Then we're going to have WASA on here for the endpoint detection and response, and the actual SIEM, which is going to take all the different data. And it's going to be the security information and event monitoring system, so then I can actually start doing correlation of data. So let's say an endpoint starts having certain, weird stuff happening. I can then correlate network traffic to say, okay, it's doing this, it's trying to hit that, it's moving across this network, it's hitting this device. I can then see, essentially, like a corporation would, how my the entire network plays out. I'd like to ideally get CrowdStrike, but I don't have CrowdStrike pockets. We're going to have TwinGate for the Zero Trust network access. Doppler's already the secrets manager for all of this. And then I'm going to be setting up, once this is all done, so TwinGate will be on 3 different Raspberry Pi 3B Pluses for the failover and load balancing of nodes. I'm going to be moving over the Unify controller because the battery died on the CloudKey Gen 2 and they don't make new ones, to a Raspberry Pi 4. I'll be using the Raspberry Pi 4, currently running my social media bots. I'll be temporarily moving the social media bots to a Lenovo tiny PC that is going to be running the automation server for N8N, which will tie into the logging server, the LLM, and everything else. And then next year, I'm hoping to have 5 Raspberry Pi 5s running over PoE, so I can have a Kubernetes cluster for my social media bots. And that should be fun. Oh, you redeem the give a dog a treat. Ari! Barack! Y'all fuckers want a treat? Barack! Ari! Come on! Yo, puppers! Ari, Barack, come on! Well, guess they don't want it. Sucks to be you dogs. But yeah, so there's a lot of things happening. I also got to build the LLM server. I got the components for that. We have an NVIDIA 5060 Ti and my NVIDIA 3050 that was in this machine, so we're gonna have dual LLMs. And then I have the TTS server, so I'm gonna be building my own TTS with the LLM in part as that flow. Papa's sleeping on the job, pretty much. They must be tired. They never go reject food. There's a lot happening, basically, though. But next year, I want to get the Kubernetes cluster. I want to upgrade this box to an NVIDIA 5070 Ti. I want to get one, or preferably two, NVIDIA 5070 Ti's, so that way I can build another LLM box for the moderation server. Do some fun things there, where it's gonna be the secondary line of defense after the regex mod bots like Stream Elements and Me6 to do nuance and all that other stuff, and then have some other fun things. So like it'll monitor the chat from Twitch, Kick, and YouTube to give a history of what everybody's chatting about, and pop it into the chat with its own LLM flair, like it used to tease the hell out of one of my mods when I was using Frosty tools. Part of the reason why I'm building a lot of my own tools is I got tired of tools working or working partially, so I'm like, I'm going to start doing my own flows and making my own things to get things working the way I want. The only thing that I pretty much know is out of my depth is recreating the receipt printer on Linux. But there's a software called StreamerBot, and that's what I've been using on Windows, so I can at least throw that probably into a Windows VM and network it. I'm going to have to play and see if I can network that receipt printer, and if that is doable, where it'll still work with the StreamerBot, I may be onto something. Because between that and the teleprompter, the key lights, the Stream Deck, and the capture cards, that's the only thing keeping me from moving to a full-on Linux workflow. But that'll be a project for throughout next year. It'll be fun. WineReceiptPrinter.exe. I don't know if it works that easy, because it's the receipt printer app and it's the driver for that. They say they have a Linux one, but we'll see. Like, all I really need that feature for from StreamerBot is to do that. And then if I can get a local stream tool to do my local alerts, yeah. If you need some C done, I'll put some time in. Okay, Abby, I will share with you the app that I'm using and the video to do it. And then if you want, and you can figure it out, I would really appreciate it. Only one request. Let's open source it. Because I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that would love to use the tool, maybe contribute to it. Yeah. I'm sure it's not too much of a headache, but yeah. But it's getting a little late, guys. I'm gonna get to bed, sleep in tomorrow, get working on some content, prepare for the turkey coma, and hopefully I will be on tomorrow evening. If not, there'll be Friday and Sunday. So, thank you all for joining me. Make sure, if you haven't already, to follow me on all of my social media. The Blue Sky, the Mastodon, the YouTube, the Twitch, the TikTok, and don't forget that we have a Discord and a Matrix server. The links are all in the bio for everyone out there. Stay safe. I love you all. And as always, happy hacking. Stick around for the raid if you're over on Twitch. And I will see you all either on Discord, Matrix, and all that, and maybe on stream tomorrow. Have a good night, y'all. Happy Turkey Day. Don't eat too much. Gobble, gobble.
Bye.